Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. This time, we're going to be tackling the legacy of Frigyes Riesz,
Oh, yeah,
a
Riesz.
mathematician whose story is a bit like a hidden treasure chest, full of these surprising gems just waiting to be discovered.
Yeah, what's fascinating about Riesz is that his work, a lot of it done quietly in the early 20th century, underpins some of the most cutting-edge technologies that we use today.
Oh, absolutely.
Things that you might not even realize are connected to some pretty abstract math.
Yeah, and we're talking quantum mechanics.
Yeah.
We're talking artificial intelligence.
Exactly.
And to think, it all started with this guy exploring the very nature of space and functions,
Right.
pushing the boundaries of mathematical thinking.
That's what's so intriguing about this deep dive, I think.
Yeah.
We're not just unpacking complex theorems,
Right.
but we're tracing how those seemingly abstract ideas ripple outward, shaping our understanding of the world and even the tools that we build.
Absolutely. So before we get lost in the world of abstract spaces and mathematical continuums, let's hear from the folks who make this deep dive possible. Quantum formalism.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. Quantum formalism sounds intimidating.
Right.
But trust me, their mission is anything but.
Yeah.
They're all about making advanced math accessible to anyone in STEM, regardless of your background.
It's like they're saying, hey, you don't need an Ivy League degree to grasp these concepts,
Right.
And their QF Academy is this online haven for graduate-level math.
Taught by actual PhD mathematicians.
Yeah.
And here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
They offer courses in fields like algebraic topology, functional analysis topics that are directly relevant to Riesz's work and the fields he influenced, like quantum mechanics and AI.
It's almost as if their curriculum was designed with this deep dive in mind.
Right. It's like they knew.
So if this episode sparks a curiosity in you, a desire to delve deeper into the mathematical foundations that we're discussing, I highly recommend checking out quantumformalism.academy. You might surprise yourself with what you're capable of learning.
Now, speaking of surprising journeys, let's get back to Frigyes Riesz himself. Born in 1880, he lived during a time of incredible change and upheaval,
Wow.
particularly in the Austro-Hungarian Empire where he grew up.
Yeah. Imagine that backdrop. A world on the brink of modernization, with cities like Budapest transforming at lightning speed, all while these revolutionary ideas are brewing in science and mathematics across Europe.
Yeah, it's like the perfect recipe for a curious mind like Riesz to flourish.
Absolutely.
Now, while we don't know a ton about his personal life, we do know he had a brother, Marcel, who also became a prominent mathematician.
Oh, wow.
It makes you wonder about the conversations they must have had.
Two mathematical minds under one roof, grappling with these groundbreaking concepts.
Right.
That's a family dinner I wouldn't mind time traveling to attend.
To truly understand Riesz's contributions, we need to understand the world of mathematics he stepped into. It was a time when giants like Jacques Hadamard were pushing the boundaries of analysis, number theory, and differential equations.
Yeah, Hadamard was quite the figure.
Oh, he was prolific.
And then there's Henri Lebesgue.
Oh, yes.
His work on measure theory and integration,
Right.
particularly the Lebesgue integral, absolutely revolutionized how mathematicians thought about functions and their behavior.
It's foundational.
Yeah.
Riesz, clearly inspired by Lebesgue, took these concepts and ran with them.
He did.
He started exploring how these ideas could be applied in more abstract spaces,
Yeah.
laying the groundwork for what we now call functional analysis.
And this is where we start to see the seeds of his impact on fields like quantum mechanics.
Yes.
Functional analysis, with its focus on vector spaces and operators,
Right.
is the language that physicists use to describe the quantum world.
It's like Riesz provided the dictionary.
He did.
Yeah.
And we can't forget the influence of other mathematicians working at the same time.
Right.
It was a period of intense intellectual exchange, with people like Lebesgue and Hadamard constantly pushing each other to explore new mathematical frontiers.
It's like they were all playing a game of intellectual leapfrog, each new discovery building on the last.
I love that. That's a perfect analogy.
And in the midst of all this, Riesz decides to tackle a field that was still in its infancy, topology.
Topology.
Back in 1906, he introduces this concept of a mathematical continuum.
Okay.
It was essentially his attempt to describe the structure of space in a more abstract way, going beyond the familiar three dimensions.
Yeah, and he was inspired by Hilbert's work in geometry,
Oh, yeah.
particularly the concept of a two-dimensional manifold.
Right.
Riesz wanted to extend this idea to three dimension. And to do that, he had to delve into abstract sets and the concept of accumulation points.
It was a pretty radical idea at the time.
It was.
And he wasn't shy about sharing it either.
No, he wasn't.
In 1908, he presented his mathematical continuum at the International Congress of Mathematicians in Rome.
Okay, imagine being in that room.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Over 700 mathematicians, including legends like David Hilbert, Henri Poincaré, and Felix Klein,
All the greats.
all gathered to discuss the latest mathematical breakthroughs.
It must have been an electrifying atmosphere.
Yeah.
And here's Riesz, a relatively young mathematician,
Right.
presenting this incredibly abstract and forward-thinking concept.
So ahead of his time.
Now, while it generated some interest, it wouldn't be until much later that the true significance of his topological work would be recognized.
It's like he was planting seeds that wouldn't fully blossom until decades later.
Yeah, but those seeds were already containing the DNA of modern topology,
Oh, wow.
influencing concepts like connectedness and spatial relations that are still studied today.
And what's remarkable is that even while his work in topology was simmering in the background, Riesz was already making groundbreaking contributions to another field, functional analysis.
Oh yeah, that's where it gets really exciting.
And this is where his legacy really starts to take shape.
That's right, and we'll pick that thread up right after a quick message from our sponsor, Quantum Formalism.
All right. Sounds good.
Remember, if you're intrigued by the mathematical concepts we're discussing, head over to quantumformalism.academy to explore their incredible courses.
Yeah, you won't regret it.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of Frigyes Riesz.
It's like we're following him as he navigates these uncharted territories.
Yeah.
Building bridges between seemingly disparate areas of mathematics.
Absolutely.
And as we've seen, those bridges would eventually lead to some truly groundbreaking discoveries in fields like quantum mechanics and AI.
And remember, all of this is happening against the backdrop of some major historical events.
Right.
We're talking about World War I, the collapse of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and the redrawing of national boundaries.
Yeah, it's a period of immense upheaval, and it's bound to have an impact on Riesz's life and work.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine trying to focus on these abstract mathematical concepts while the world around you is literally changing shape.
Yeah, you have to have a certain focus.
Yeah, but that's exactly what Riesz did. He was teaching in Kołobrzeg, now Cluj in Romania,
Right.
when the war broke out.
Wow.
And after the war, with the Treaty of Trianon, Hungary lost a significant amount of territory, including Kołobrzeg.
So much change.
And the university where Riesz was teaching was forced to relocate to Szeged.
Really?
It must have been a challenging time, both personally and professionally.
Oh, I can only imagine.
But amidst all this disruption, Riesz and his colleague, Alfred Haar,
Oh, yeah.
saw an opportunity.
Interesting.
They decided to establish the János Bolyai Mathematical Institute in Szeged,
Wow.
naming it after the renowned Hungarian mathematician whose birthplace, Kołobrzeg, had just been lost to Romania.
It's a beautiful tribute.
It is. It's a testament to their resilience and their dedication to the field. You know,
Yeah.
they were determined to create a center of mathematical excellence,
Right.
a place where the next generation of mathematicians could flourish.
And flourish they did.
They did. The institute quickly gained recognition as a leading center for mathematical research,
Right.
and its journal, Acta Scientiarum Mathematicarum, became a prestigious platform for cutting-edge work in the field.
Riesz himself was the editor of the journal,
He was.
and he played a key role in shaping its direction and its reputation.
So influential.
He continued to publish his own research, further solidifying his legacy as a pioneer in functional analysis and a master of mathematical exposition.
It's amazing to think about how he managed to achieve all of this during such a turbulent period in history.
Yeah, it speaks to something deeper, I think.
It does.
The enduring power of human curiosity and our innate desire to understand the world around us,
Yeah.
even when that world feels like it's falling apart.
Absolutely. So we've seen how Riesz's journey took him from exploring the abstract spaces of topology to laying the groundwork for functional analysis.
And we've touched on how his work has connections to fields like quantum mechanics and AI.
We have. But let's delve a bit deeper into those connections, shall we?
Let's start with quantum mechanics.
Okay.
One of the key insights of quantum mechanics is that the world at the atomic and subatomic level behaves in ways that are fundamentally different from the world we experience in our everyday lives.
Things get weird down there.
They do. Particles can be in multiple states at once.
Right.
They can tunnel through barriers, and their properties are governed by probabilities rather than certainties. It's enough to make your head spin.
It is a lot to take in.
And to make sense of all this weirdness, physicists needed a new mathematical language.
They did.
And that language is functional analysis, and Riesz was one of its architects.
So how exactly does Riesz's work connect to this strange world of quantum mechanics?
One of his most important contributions is the Riesz representation theorem.
Okay, the Riesz representation theorem.
Now, I know that might sound a bit intimidating,
Right.
but bear with me.
Okay.
This theorem establishes a fundamental connection between linear functionals and vectors in a Hilbert space.
Okay, Hilbert space. That's another one of those terms that might sound like something out of Star Trek.
Yeah, it sounds very sci-fi.
Can you break it down for us?
Sure. Imagine a space where each point represents a possible state of a quantum system.
Okay.
That's essentially what a Hilbert space is. It's a mathematical framework for describing the quantum world.
So instead of thinking about particles as little billiard balls bouncing around,
Right.
we're thinking about them as vectors in this abstract space.
Exactly. And the Riesz representation theorem tells us that every linear functional,
Okay.
which is a kind of mathematical operation you can perform on these vectors,
Right.
can be represented as an inner product with another vector in the same space.
Okay, I think I'm starting to see where this is going.
Huh.
We talked earlier about Dirac's bracket notation,
Oh, yes.
which is this elegant way of expressing quantum states and operations using these symbols.
Right, like bracket symbols.
Yeah, like put the picket and stuff for a broth.
Precisely. And the Riesz representation theorem is what makes bracket notation work. It tells us that every bra has a corresponding ket.
Mm-hmm.
And it allows us to reimagine the Hilbert space in terms of these bras and cats, making calculations much easier and more intuitive.
So it's like Riesz provided the mathematical scaffolding that allowed physicists to build the elegant edifice of bracket notation.
Exactly. And this notation is essential for understanding a wide range of quantum phenomena,
Wow.
from the behavior of atoms and molecules to the workings of quantum computers.
It's amazing to think that this seemingly abstract mathematical theorem developed decades before the birth of quantum mechanics
Right.
would end up playing such a crucial role in our understanding of the quantum world.
It really speaks to the power of fundamental research, doesn't it?
It does.
You never know where a new mathematical concept might lead or what seemingly unrelated fields it might illuminate.
It's like planting a seed that then grows into a vast and complex ecosystem.
Uh-huh.
You might not know exactly what will sprout up,
Right.
but you've provided the essential nutrients for growth and development.
A perfect analogy. And speaking of unexpected connections, let's move on to the world of artificial intelligence.
Okay, now this is where I'm really curious.
Okay.
How does a mathematician who was working in the early 20th century connect to something as modern as AI?
Well, the key lies in the universal approximation theorem, or UAT, which is a cornerstone of neural network theory.
Okay, the universal approximation theorem, UAT.
This theorem states that certain types of neural networks, if they are sufficiently large, can approximate any continuous function to any degree of accuracy.
So you're saying that these neural networks, which are the brains behind many AI systems,
Yes.
can learn to mimic any continuous function, no matter how complex.
Exactly. And at the heart of this remarkable ability is the concept of function spaces, which Riesz was instrumental in developing.
Okay, remind us again what function spaces are all about.
Imagine a space where each point represents a function. That's essentially what a function space is. It's a mathematical framework for understanding and working with collections of functions as if they were points in a space.
It's like instead of thinking about individual functions, we're thinking about entire families of functions as points in some abstract mathematical landscape.
Precisely. And the universal approximation theorem relies on the ability to approximate target functions within these specific function spaces. Think of it like trying to find the best curve to fit a set of data points.
Right, like finding a line or a curve that passes through or near a bunch of points on a graph.
Exactly. And Riesz's work, particularly the Riesz representation theorem,
Yeah.
provides crucial theoretical tools for understanding how to do this in a rigorous way, especially when dealing with spaces of continuous functions or Hilbert spaces.
So in a way, Riesz's work in these abstract function spaces is what allows AI algorithms to learn from data and make predictions.
Yes,
So like he gave them the mathematical language to understand the world.
that's a great way to put it. And it highlights how seemingly esoteric mathematical concepts can have profound and unexpected implications for the development of cutting-edge technologies.
It's a reminder that we should never underestimate the power of pure curiosity-driven research.
I agree.
You never know where it might lead.
Now, while Ries's work has clear connections to quantum mechanics and AI, his influence extends far beyond these fields.
Okay.
He made significant contributions to areas like harmonic analysis, partial differential equations, and even ergodic theory, which studies the long-term behavior of dynamical systems.
Dynamical systems, those sound pretty complex.
They can be, but think of any system that changes over time according to some rules.
Okay.
It could be a physical system like a pendulum swinging or a planet orbiting the sun,
Okay.
or it could be a more abstract system like the stock market or the weather.
So ergodic theory is about trying to understand patterns in how these systems behave over long periods.
Exactly. And Ries made important contributions to this field, particularly in the study of measure-preserving transformations.
Measure-preserving transformations, those sound even more abstract.
A bit, but let me give you a real-world example.
Okay.
Imagine shuffling a deck of cards. You're rearranging the order of the cards, but you're not changing the overall makeup of the deck. That's a measure-preserving transformation.
Okay.
You're preserving the measure of the deck, which in this case is the number of cards of each suit.
Okay, I'm starting to get it. So Riesz developed tools for analyzing these kinds of transformations, which have applications in fields like statistical mechanics, probability theory, and even number theory.
Precisely, and his work in ergodic theory is just one example of how his mathematical insights continue to resonate in diverse fields.
It's like he was this master weaver, connecting threads of mathematical thought across different disciplines, creating this intricate tapestry of knowledge that continues to inspire and inform us today.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And it's important to remember that Riesz wasn't just a brilliant mathematician.
Right.
He was also a dedicated teacher and mentor. He played a key role in nurturing the next generation of mathematicians.
Yeah, passing the torch, so to speak.
Exactly, ensuring that his legacy would continue to grow and evolve.
And that's where we'll pick up when we return. We'll explore Riesz's influence on his students and delve into some of the ongoing research that's building upon his remarkable legacy. Welcome back to our exploration of Frigyes Riesz. So before we wrap up, I'm curious about the people he inspired directly, his students.
Oh, yeah.
Did any of them become major figures in mathematics themselves?
Oh, absolutely. One of his most notable students was Béla Székely-Nagy. You made significant contributions to functional analysis and operator theory. He even co-authored a book with Riesz.
Really?
That's still considered a classic in the field.
Wow, so it's Riesz's knowledge and approach to mathematics were passed down almost like a torch
Yes.
to the next generation.
Exactly, and Székely-Nagy in turn mentored his own group of brilliant students,
Wow,
creating a kind of intellectual lineage that can be traced back to Riesz.
that's amazing.
It shows how one person's passion and insights can ripple outwards, impacting the entire field for generations.
It's a beautiful illustration of how knowledge builds upon itself, like adding new branches to a growing tree.
A perfect analogy. And speaking of growth, it's incredible how Riesz's work, even the stuff that seemed purely theoretical at the time, continues to find new and surprising applications in modern technology.
Yeah.
Take his work on compact operators, for instance.
Compact operators. Those were mentioned earlier, but I'll admit I'm still a bit fuzzy on what they are.
Think of them as a special type of mathematical operation that can shrink down the complexity of a problem without losing too much essential information.
Okay, and how does that connect to technology?
Well, it turns out that compact operators are incredibly useful in developing compression algorithms.
Wait, so the algorithms that let us squeeze massive video files into manageable sizes are somehow connected to Riesz's abstract mathematical work?
It might sound strange, but yes. Compact operators are all about representing information in a more efficient way. And that's the key to compression. Take a large amount of data and find a way to represent it using less space while still preserving the essential features.
Wow. It's another great example of how seemingly obscure mathematical ideas can end up having a huge impact on our everyday lives.
I know, it's amazing, isn't it?
Riesz probably never imagined that his work would one day help us stream movies on our phones.
It really underscores the point that we should never underestimate the potential of fundamental research.
Absolutely.
Sometimes the most unexpected discoveries come from exploring the seemingly impractical corners of knowledge.
So we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, from the abstract spaces of topology to the foundations of quantum mechanics and even the algorithms that power artificial intelligence.
We have. It's been quite a journey.
Riesz's fingerprints are everywhere.
They are. He was a visionary.
He was.
Huh?
What's the one big takeaway you'd want our listeners to remember about his legacy?
I think it's about recognizing the profound and often unexpected ways in which abstract mathematical ideas can shape our world.
Yeah.
Riesz's story is a testament to the power of curiosity, the importance of rigorous thinking, and the enduring impact of a life dedicated to the pursuit of knowledge.
Beautifully put. He was a true pioneer, building bridges between seemingly disparate fields, laying the foundation for technologies he could never have imagined, and inspiring generations of mathematicians to push the boundaries of human understanding.
And his story reminds us that the quest for knowledge is a never-ending journey full of unexpected twists and turns, and that even the most abstract ideas can eventually blossom into real-world applications that enrich our lives.
So to all our listeners out there, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and never stop wondering about the hidden connections that might be lurking just beneath the surface of things.
Absolutely.
Who knows, you might just stumble upon the next groundbreaking insight that changes the world. Until next time.
Happy exploring.